All right, so we're gonna, for the next few days, talk about some introduction to trigonometry. So it's just right triangle trigonometry. Excuse me. So we'll get into, like, there's three different ratios, tangent, and then we'll do sine and cosine tomorrow. But the tangent ratio, and we always abbreviate and just say tan, equals the opposite side over the adjacent side. And we still have like hypotenuse, just tangent doesn't use hypotenuse. So opposite, I think we know all what opposite means. Adjacent just means next to. Okay, so if we had let's say like a triangle like that, we would say that the tangent of angle A, and so that means I'm starting at A, and then what side is opposite of A? 10. What side is adjacent to A? 4. And you could reduce that if you wanted to, but divide by 2. But tangent of angle A is 5/2. And so if I said the tangent of angle C, then it would be the other way around. Opposite is 4, and adjacent is 10. Or we could have just 2/5. Okay, so really the 13 is irrelevant to this problem. I don't need the hypotenuse to do tangent. So some of the first problems will be just to write the tangent ratio, which I have done there. Okay. So then most of the assignment will be figuring out a side using tangent. So let's say, so we've done like Pythagorean theorem, a squared, b squared, c squared. If I know two sides, I can figure out the third side. And then we've done special right triangles, so the angles were 45 and 45, or 30 and 60 combined, like with the 90. So now, like, what if they're not those like angles? So, what if this one was 38 degrees? And like I had that. So with special right triangles, you just need one side, and then you know what the angles are. Excuse me, and then you could figure out the other information. So when they're not 30, 60, or 45, and we have 38, like on this one, we have to use right triangle trigonometry. So I would just say tangent of 38 degrees equals x over 8. Okay, and then here's where, and then really what we're going to do is create a proportion. Okay, and so when we multiply diagonally, x times 1 is just x. So this is kind of a nicer like problem. So here's where you have to have a calculator. No way around it, because what's the tangent of 38 degrees? I have no idea. Got to use a calculator. So if you're using a phone, the way to type it in is you just type in 38, and then you press the tangent button, the TAN button, and it's going to give you some super long decimal. Okay, so it would give you, like, I'm just going to write the first, and usually the kind of the golden rule, if you will, is to the first 4 numbers. Okay, and then times 8. And we get 6.25. And I don't remember if the book says hundredth or tenth. So if it says hundredth, 6.25. If it says tenth, 6.3. Okay. If you have a calculator and you press the word tangent, and on the screen you see the TAN like pops up, then the way that you're going to do it is you're going to press tangent and then 38 and then equals or enter, and that 0.78 number will come up, and then you can just hit times 8 and you'll have what's there. Okay. So it doesn't matter, where the side is and the angle is or whatever. Like, you can start on the top. Okay, so from the 40, I know the opposite side is x and the adjacent side is 10. So then I would just write, tangent 40. Okay, and then remember it's a proportion. 1 times x is x. And then I need to type in 40 degrees, tangent, 0.8391 times 10, and we get 8.39 or 8.4. Okay, so those are the easier ones where the x ends up on top when you do tangent. So you could have, and you will have, something like that. So you say, okay, well, I know 62 degrees and opposite is 12 and adjacent is x, so that's tangent. But it's going to be 12 over x. Oops, forgot to put the number in there. So it's a proportion. So now here's where it's a little different. You get tangent of 62 times x. And then 12 times 1 is 12. And so to solve for x, like, remember, this is just a decimal. It's a number. I'm going to divide by that number. And so I'm writing it like this because sometimes in like some of those state test type things that you won't see this year, but like that might be the answer. Like they don't actually have you multiply it out or divide it in this case. But in the book, they want you to do that. So let's see. 62 tangents. And so I get 1.8807. So remember, 4 numbers after the decimal is kind of the best like guide. So 12 divided by 1.8807, and I get 6.4. 6.38, 6.4. Okay, so some of your problems will be just triangles like I've done, and then there'll be a few of them where there's like a word problem, but it's like a visual of different things that you can make a triangle. And then you can use tangent to figure out the height of something, or if you know how high like a tree is or something, or a building, and then you want to figure out, well, how far am I standing away from it, you can use tangent. So there's a couple problems where you're going to do stuff like that, where they're going to give you a word problem, and a bunch of them the picture is already there, so you just kind of have to look at the picture and kind of recreate it using a triangle. Okay, but opposite over adjacent for tangent. Opposite over adjacent. All right. Hopefully you're doing good. Had a good weekend. Have a good Monday, and we'll see you tomorrow.